Thank you.
Thank you, Wei and Amika. Someday in my career, to give welcome remarks, I'm just going to come up and say welcome and then walk off the stage. But that day is not today. I'm going to say a little bit more. Welcome, everybody. I want to acknowledge my colleague at Pacific Northwest National Lab, Deb Braccio. She's an ALD for our National Security Directorate. She really represents a lot of the cyber activities that we have at the lab and crosses over to the energy side, and she couldn't be here today. Usually we would do a tag team together, so she sends her regrets. And I wanted to go back a little bit to the timeline that was put up earlier, since I've been with this since the very beginning. We announced the Advanced Grid Institute and a couple other institutes on April 3rd, 2018. And the high-level idea, and Wayne and Amika showed kind of all the metrics that we put on them as a governing body of show us how much business you bought in and publications. We put all of that on them. But the real idea was to link the combined horsepower of the academic excellence and the outstanding work that goes on at Washington State University, both here in the main campus. They're really strong power system engineering, and bring other disciplines into the Institute and link it with the really strong grid programs at Pacific Northwest National Lab. And the goal, that was the idea, and the goal, though, was over time to show how our two organizations could deliver impact to the region. And so we have a lot of ways of measuring progress and activity, but it's really, could we deliver impact to the region? And that's why today is so important, because I think one of the biggest things that's come out of the last 6 years on AGI is this day where we get together with industry stakeholders and all kinds of perspectives on what it's going to take to move our electricity infrastructure forward to meet all the needs that we have, no matter how you frame it. And I'm not going to describe all the challenges we have, because they're numerous. And sometimes in the energy space, we get admire the problem significantly. And all the challenges have been really well documented that we have. The question is, what do we as a community, research institutions, utilities, all stakeholders, what are we going to do to solve it and add insight? So the real hope, at least from the PNNL side, is by coming together, we can choose a few really important meaty areas, leverage other funding, and solve problems that are important to you in the region. I have to say, like all really good ideas, AGI was started with really large expectations and a small amount of resources. Those are the best ones, right? We didn't want to burden them with too many dollars to start out. We didn't. So we had to rely on the power of the people, the passion of the researchers, and just the desire to do good, both at the university and at Pacific Northwest National Lab. I do want to spend a little more time acknowledging him, because Jeff Daigle, I don't know if Jeff is here today. Jeff has been with us from the beginning. He's interim. Right now, he's been the director. He's on a really important assignment back at the undersecretary level in the Department of Energy, where he's responsible for coordinating and integrating all of the grid activities across the Department of Energy. It's for the Grid Modernization Initiative. So he's framing out the future programs across all departments. Couldn't be a more important assignment in the world that I live in the Department of Energy, than what Jeff's doing. So that's a year-long assignment. And along with Jeff, and you saw it was on John Bowes. And now everyone I'm going to mention has a really important title, but they're so long. I'm just on John Bowes. If you don't know on John, he's an institution in and of himself. It was on John and Jeff. Is on John here? Is on John and Jeff who really got this thing started. Noel, I know Noel is here. Noel, where are you? Thank you so much in 2020 with your leadership with Jeff. You did that phase 2. They got AGI 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. I didn't realize we're like a software development company. But thank you for your leadership. It's been absolutely critical. And if you don't know, Noel's taken on another assignment, a really important assignment for the state, for WSU, as the Institute for Northwest Energy Futures. It's going to be really exciting. There's others involved to make this sustainable, and we review it each year. It's Chris Keene and Jonathan Mayle, who you'll hear from in a little bit. And of course, Chancellor Haynes, thank you so much. I was going back and looking over the history. I think this was month 1 when you landed, you know? It was month 1, because you were in a lot of pictures I saw when I went and looked it up. So on behalf, at the highest levels, on behalf of PNNL, I want to thank WSU for this fantastic partnership. It's been really good. Wei and Amika, thank you for being willing to carry the torch a little bit farther. Like I said, the expectations are large. We will continue to keep the resources low. We leverage a lot of other dollars. We appreciate that you've identified key R&D areas, the three that you described: energy analytics and decision support, power electronics, and grid resilience to all hazards. And from the PNNL perspective, if you look at the agenda today, I just thought I would frame out what we're trying to present from a PNNL perspective. You're going to hear from Dave Judy, and Dave is a division director of about 250 plus, maybe get close to 300 people. It's the Earth System Science Division at PNNL. And he's going to talk about the truly world-class climate science and Earth system science capabilities that we have and how we're linking those to the energy infrastructure. And we have several internal investments that are trying to take those models and show the impacts of climate near and long term on the energy infrastructure to help give decision makers better information on the decisions that they'll make in the future. It's a really important investment for the lab. It's one of our top priorities. And then you're going to hear about, from Dave, some of the work they've done on assessing, like for example, extreme events and the long-term climate impacts. Like a real easy example, heat domes. They're going to get bigger and longer. And there will come a time, if they continue to grow, where the South won't be able to rely on the North for extra energy. Everyone will be under heat stress. And so how do we plan for that? How do we start to manage it? You're going to hear from Jim Ogle. Jim's sitting right over there. Jim is our electricity infrastructure manager. He's responsible for all interactions with the Department of Energy. Our grid works about $100 million-ish in all kinds of different grid activities. Jim's going to give you an overview of the portfolio of those capabilities that we have and kind of the strategy at a really high level on how to accelerate decarbonization, resiliency, reliability, and security of the electric grid. And he's going to provide a few examples of where we work with industry. Natalie Voisin. Natalie, where are you at? You can raise your hand. And I'm identifying so you can accost them at breaks if you have additional questions, and you can as well as listening to them. Natalie is a chief scientist for our regional water energy dynamics, Earth system predictability, but she's also the lead of a big internal investment that we have at the lab to try to link some of those climate models down to very specific actionable things on the energy infrastructure, stuff like understanding energy droughts and the implications for capacity expansion models, extreme event analytics, impact on reliability and transmission, equity definitions for evaluating policies and designing incentives, and representation models for population incomes for decision support on decarbonization. Trying to link a whole bunch of things together that we know everyone cares about, but we don't have the tools to adequately predict and understand and represent. So she's building those tools. You'll also hear from Thomas Edgar. Oh, I didn't see Thomas here. He's going to talk about our cybersecurity. If Deb Graccio, my counterpart, was here, half of our laboratory is national security work. And the depth that we have in cybersecurity, along with all the data analytics that support it, would take a couple of days of a seminar to describe. We link that closely with the energy work because there's just no way to separate energy, and especially electric grid, and the cybersecurity issues that we have with those. So you'll hear a little bit about that. Finally, Jacob Reed. Jacob, are you here? Jacob, there he is. He is the new center director. We have a center that we start, thank you to the Washington State. It's jointly funded by Washington State Department of Energy. It's called the Grid Center for Reliable Electricity Delivery, GridCred. That's the thing, GridCred. It's going to be a data analytics platform that we will use to help solve regional challenges with our partners. What are the most important problems? Then the three core elements of that center are going to be people, data, and tools necessary to do grid scenario planning, computing infrastructure that integrates climate, economics, and kind of those larger system models that maybe are bigger than any one utility. And then finally, facilities decision-making to address complex challenges in this rapidly changing grid. So that's the PNNL perspective. I really appreciate everyone being here today because for me, at the end of the day, it's about delivering impact to the region. And the only way we can do that and get out of our silos at national labs, and maybe you're not siloed at universities, they say no, not at all, is to interact with the people who have to move electrons around the system and understand what their biggest challenges are. We're probably not going to beat in day-to-day operations, but we're looking for those longer-term challenges where we can add value. So with that, thank you. I hope you have a fantastic day. I'm excited. I'll be here all day if anyone has any questions, and I'll then immediately point you to others. But I think the next speaker is Jonathan. Or